All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. Watch this clip and we're gonna come right back. So I got to thinking the other day, after I took my blue truck out for the first time, what did all those cars have in common that you just saw, including the truck? They're all running a dual plane manifold. Let me show you what I'm thinking about here. So this is the exact intake, an Edelbrock 7186 that I'm running right now on the blue truck. And that was the exact intake that I used in the dyno 406 and Dave's dyno session with the 500. I wanted to show you those results again and then tell you why I'm thinking about this. So here is the 400 dyno sheet comparing the Performer RPM to a tunnel ram that I had dual Edelbrock 600s on versus the Street Dominator that was fully, nicely, wonderfully ported. I did not port it. I bought it and it was already ported, and they did a super duper great job. The Performer RPM in this video series is totally unported, just like the one I have on the table. And I thought to myself, right there below 4,400, it was beating the Street Dominator. And the only reason I would think about doing an intake comparison between the Performer RPM, ported versus non-ported, is that I already have one on my blue truck. And my current converter in there only flashes to 3,800. I'm not going to buy a new converter. I'm not taking that transmission out. I'm not sending it off. I built a truck out of leftover parts. So I have here another leftover part that I can use on the truck and hopefully make it go faster. So the idea behind today is take this intake, do a little port work on it, port matching especially, but also inside some, and make it try to catch up to that Street Dominator some. I also have a Torquer, which is a TM6, Edelbrock TM6 I'd like to try on the truck the same day if we have enough time. But for sure, I get there with the truck as it is. We do a little more tuning on it because it hasn't even, nothing was touched. I just bolted it together. It was like a 50-degree day, and I knew it would be safe enough to run like that, but the truck needs tuned. Once it gets tuned, I'd like to swap this intake manifold on and maybe try even the 1-inch spacer that's open on top of this dual plane intake. So that's my harebrained Mopar idea of the day. And while you're here, you might as well watch me do a little bit of port work. I'll show you what it needs. Step one, let me flip over. So here's our port. And you can see where I've markered it out and then took my gasket and just did a real fine, super fine line there. It doesn't need much opening up. I can open up the floors. I don't really know what good it's going to do, but I may take just a hair out of that. But for the most part, I'm going sidewalls all the way. This outer edge looks really nice, and the roof actually was really nice. And I did mock this up on another engine, low deck with Edelbrock heads, so it would be very similar to what I have right now. Both engines been decked. Same thickness head gaskets. So really pretty close. And the roof was actually pretty well in line. Then when I laid my gasket on, it was also still in line. But I wanted to do a little bit of the, what they call line of sight porting. So if you can see our wall where it runs around there, I would take a little bit of that out. I know most of the air is going to actually be on the outer wall, so I can clean up some of that rough booger casting in there. There you go. I can clean up some of that rough booger casting and try to do everything I can for line of sight. Same thing on this side. See at the roof where it actually kind of narrows up right through here. I can open that up, I think, a little bit more uniformly to get that, to equalize it a little bit more. I'm not getting out a measuring tool and doing any of this. And y'all can be sure in the comments and tell me if you think it's gonna pick up any kind of ET at all. Something else I think I would like to try, if you can see our line right here that comes down. I think my marker or something fell off, or my pick did. I'll take it down nice and straight, and then that entire inner wall, I'll shave it as deep as I can. But again, it runs into the other wall, so I don't want to go too crazy. But as the air, if the air is flowing that way and hitting those outside walls, I just like to give it a little more cross-sectional area. This is not going to be a Wilson porting video of any kind. I'm definitely not anywhere on their level, but it should be a little bit better when it's done. Let's look at the plenum now. So obvious stuff on the plenum is where our line transitions down. I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit both ways. Same thing way down there. I can open that up some so the air can make a quicker curve. Also, I can knife edge our divider. I'm not taking the divider out. I was advised by a couple professionals not to do that they actually have lost ET by doing it. So you can say what you want about it, but that's how I'm rolling. On our kind of clover leaf section here, I'll go ahead and come across and knife edge that. Excuse me, I'm not gonna take it all the way out, but same thing, both sides. Take it on down, knife edge, blend that in generously to where it comes across. I want to put my 1-inch spacer on as well now and just see exactly how close it is to the outside edge. It's just a plain old plastic. So this is actually a 2-inch spacer, but I have the 1-inch at the other shop. So I probably won't try a 2-inch on there because I don't think I have enough hood clearance. I might be getting close, but I can mark my little clover leaf spots there where they go. And on the sidewalls, the spacer is actually smaller than the intake is itself. So shouldn't have to do anything to that, to the sides rather, but I'll go ahead and mark my top parts. And way down in there, where we're making these curves, see that light comes in from that side? I'm going to bevel that edge as well. It's been about 30 minutes, and I went ahead, my rough bit, like that's super rough right now, it'll about scratch your fingers up. I'm getting on in there. I wanted to show you kind of like I was talking about line of sight. So all under through here, if I can see the port, that light down there, I'll come just into that some. Raise it a little bit, raise that roof. I have made the plenum a little bit bigger. This stuff's still rough and ragged, and I'm gonna keep that divider probably about a 1/2 inch down and transition there, and there. I can do that real easily with my flat disc and make it look really nice, but still not so smooth. But this stuff here is pretty rough right now. I also need to go right down there, hit that edge some more. And then I'll spin my intake around and I can do it the other way as well. Don't forget there's a port that way. Flipped over now and my light is just shoved in the plenum, and I just used a little green masking tape and masked it up so I can stick my vacuum cleaner in one of these holes. If I need to, I can tape off the other 3, whatever I want to do, but it ought to get a big rush of air to suck all the shavings in. And I'm just gonna transition, make things pretty here. I do most of my gasket line, try to leave just a little bit because I know y'all like that anti-reversion thing. Well, I guess I'll get to grade me on my performance now. Even if I don't ask for it, I'll still get it. So I did open the ports up some, and I didn't even bring my point. All right, here's a couple examples of what I really worked on. See this corner here? There you go. I drug down that thing a million times and really got it cut into it well. Same thing on every port, basically. That would be the roof. And the way I think about air is flowing this way. So also this outside wall, this outside wall. I really worked those, got more cross-sectional area there. I did open up my gaskets on the inside where they were, and y'all can grade me on that in a minute. I didn't go all the way down. I'm not sure if you can see my really finite line right there still. And we can look at some of the other ports too. There we are. And if I can pull it, I was just centering with my fingers last time. Still have really fine edge right here. The bottom, there's plenty. Everybody can see that. But the really fine edge around the outer part for my anti-reversion folk. Hopefully you can see that. If I hold the gasket down, you can. Right through there. Plenty on the bottom still. Barely any on the top. This side got cut a little close. But that's okay. And you can see as far as my bit would reach into there, that's the best I could do with that. And this is supposed to be a quick and simple port job, but I figured if I didn't put enough effort into it, it wouldn't be worth doing the swap or even trying to get it all. There's my gasket match on that one if you want to look at it. But let me move that out of the way. It got a little bit rough through here, but I always hear rough is better than smooth in an intake runner. So nothing in here is really super polished. I can spin us around. And there's the opposite side there. I talked about line of sight. I didn't really cut that corner there very much because it's on the bottom of the runner and I don't think air really goes there very much. But I feel pretty good about it. It's definitely opened up quite a bit from the factory one if you'd like to see it
look,
again. Another intake exactly like the one I've been porting. That's what that window used to look like. And the old rough casting in there. It really wasn't terrible. I mean, that's not the SP2P by any means on port window size, but if you look at that compared to that, I think we're doing pretty good. And definitely wider inside, opened up everywhere. Let me flip over and show you kind of what I did further in. So here's the factory. And here's mine. I feel pretty good about it. And I don't have anything so thin that I think it's going to break off or any of that business, but I went as deep as I could into here, deep as I could that way. We talked about line of sight. So I just kept opening that as far as I possibly could imagine. Got my burr in, walked it out, walked it around, transitioned everything, and then went back. Same thing that way as far as I could. And I walked it. Kept on walking. Shaved our divider down. See what all that used to look like. I gave you a 3/8 there probably. And mine's a little bit deeper. It may go to a 1/2 inch now. I didn't measure it. I just kept going because it felt right. And knife edged that pretty good. Same thing down here. If it'll focus today. I brought my burr bit as far as I could that way. Remember, there's a port that way. All the way. Walked it out. And I kept trying to open that up as much as I could, but I remember I wasn't sure the thickness between here and there. It's kind of, my gauge won't get into that, but same thing around there. And when we come backwards, same old stuff. And then just kind of blended this out. I opened that up a little bit, my sidewalls. And I just ran over that with a flat file and piece of sandpaper, try to clean it up a little. But I think it's a lot nicer. That'll go on. See our transition there. And I'll probably do the 1-inch spacer, try it with it after the fact. But the goal of doing this was, on my little blue truck, this is a total stock form that's on the truck right now. I've got another one on there. I'm gonna bolt mine on. So the question is for you as the viewer, which one of the three is going to help my truck the most? And you can list 60 foot, you can talk about mile per hour. This is a Torker 383 I got for $75 on the internet, I think. I've got a TM6 I want to actually try because my buddy Aaron picked it up for me. I haven't been able to put it on anything yet to try it. So I'm going to try the TM6, but it looks a lot like the plain Torker. But I can put up again here my best last ticket. I think my best 60 foot was a 170. Will it be the ported RPM? The ported, or the non-ported Performer RPM? Or the good old TM6 Torker? Let me know what you think in the comments. And I appreciate Mr. Joe OC III letting me use his car in the videos. If y'all haven't checked his channel out, check him out. He was the original, he's well known for making the dual plane intake work on the Gen 3 Hemi. He made his own intakes, had them cast. And I've had one on the channel before that I put on my old Challenger engine. So thanks to him, thanks to my buddy Ross, I was able to use his video to show you also the dual plane intake cars are out there and they are working and they are racing. I know Ross and Joe both drive their cars on the street, so it's a good option, especially if you have a street driver. I think my old blue truck, I'm considering just to be an old street truck. But yeah, thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.